Lawmakers faced with a bill backlog. As the General Assembly session reaches the halfway point, now comes the time to prioritize which bills will pass. We check in on the progress with 11 News reporter David Collins in Annapolis. Plus,
for us, we need to have the deterrent, another tool in our toolbox to make sure we can fight crime for the citizens of Baltimore City.
There is a large and growing body of evidence that lengthening sentences is not an effective way to deter crime.
Will tougher sentences on illegal gun possession deter violent crime? The debate surrounding Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates' legislative proposal. And later, why Republicans call it a mistake to cut funding for the Boost Scholarship Program. Hi everyone, I'm Jason Newton and welcome to this edition of 11 TV Hill. We are past the halfway mark of Maryland's General Assembly session. A wide range of topics are in the spotlight this session, which is the first under Governor Wes Moore. That includes measures surrounding the legalization of recreational cannabis, as well as expanding protections for child sex abuse survivors. Raising the minimum wage and supporting Maryland's military members are priorities for Governor Moore. And crime fighting remains a big issue among both Democrats and Republicans. Our David Collins has been covering the legislative session there in Annapolis. As always, good to see you, sir.
Oh, thank you very much.
Certainly. Throughout the day on the show, we'll hear from Ivan Bates. He has an idea when it comes to getting illegal guns off the street. Tell us a little bit about that House bill.
Well, Ivan Bates' bill would extend the jail time for those convicted of illegal possession of a handgun. This legislation lengthens the jail time from 3 to 5 years. It does not bump up the charge from a misdemeanor to a felony. Now, currently, those 18 to 20 years old get a 5-year sentence. Ivan Bates believes it will be a deterrent. Now, he bases this on his law practice as a defense attorney and legally listening to jailhouse phone calls. He's told us in the last couple of weeks, he goes, what he's hearing from inmates is Ivan Bates ain't playing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, he's basing all this. And he doesn't, there aren't any real studies, I mean, that he recognizes.
Sure.
There are some studies out there. But the opponents of this bill really don't bring that forward. They're looking at a more holistic approach rather than a punishment approach. So the proposal may be meeting some resistance from Democrat.
Yeah.
And a few Republican lawmakers. Republicans really like it. They want to lengthen the jail time. They see it as a deterrent. The University of Baltimore Center for Criminal Justice Reform does not like it. The center points out supporters conflate the difference between certainty versus severity of the consequences. And the center does cite studies to determine that longer sentences have a minimal to non-existent impact when it comes to deterrence. So the debate goes on.
It seems like another debate that goes on and on is when it comes to schools, public schools versus private schools, and making sure that low-income folks have the opportunity. The Boost program is what I'm getting at. Tell me a little bit about that, because there's some money that may have come out of that program or proposed to, correct?
Well, in the governor's budget, he took out about 20% of it for this fiscal year, which equates to about $2 million. The Boost program is, well, the legislation that Republicans are pushing say would fully fund Boost and stop what Republicans believe is the phase out of the program. Now, the bill also creates an education savings account. Boost provides scholarships to low-income families to send their children to private and parochial schools. Republicans argue the governor cut the program, as I mentioned. The program has a $10 million budget.
Yeah.
He cut about $2 million out of it. More than 3,000 students are benefiting from this, and most of them are from Baltimore City.
Holy cow.
So the Republicans have a couple of options here.
Okay.
Their legislation could fully fund it and restore it, or they have a brand new authority that they set for themselves. They can rearrange money in the budget.
Okay.
So they can transfer some money from one program to another, but they can't raise the total cost of the budget.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a maneuver with inside.
Sure.
However, they need Democrat help.
Yeah.
And right now, Democrats aren't inclined.
I'll give you the Mission Impossible here, and we'll just go with cliff notes. There's an idea of increasing minimum wage. Just yay or nay, what's the mood around there? Do you feel like there's a shot right now to move up the timeline for this $15 an hour?
Well, Democrats really like the proposal. Republicans have already visited with that back in 2019. There's a little resistance to doing it anyway, but overall, raising the minimum wage 2 years earlier is okay. The rub is tying future increases to the rate of inflation. A lot of people are against that, and we asked the governor about that just the other day, And I asked him, if a bill landed on your desk to raise the minimum wage 2 years earlier without that component, would you sign it?
Yeah.
And he expressed confidence that he's going to get what he wanted.
Okay, you do a heck of a job in Annapolis, man. I appreciate it. Good to see you as always.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
Certainly.